Boom! And we are on Sinner to Winner podcast. This is episode 6. And today I will be interviewing myself. So, welcome to the podcast, Jazz Martin. Um, a lot of people are going to be tuning in today. They're going to know who you are already and what you're about. But for those people that don't, please tell them who you are and what you do. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jazz. Should I do it like this? It could be like this, and then it could be like that. I think we'll just keep it. We'll keep it as it is. Just we'll have some fun with this. I've got no idea what's going on. I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants. My name is Jazz Martin. If you don't know who I am, that's my real name actually. Jazz is my real name. I was born in 1981. I'm actually a twin. And the story goes, if our parents thought we were going to be girls, so they had Jasmine and Jody as the names. And then it turned out we were boys. We had penises. We were very pretty, but we did have penises. So they just, I don't know whether they were lazy or they just were really attached to the names, stubborn, who knows. But they kept Jody and they kept Jasmine, but they just shortened it to Jazz. So yeah, there we are. I always say that the Johnny Cash "Boy Named Sue" song was my life. Yeah, talk about getting a bit of attention, and I mean, to this day, people still don't believe it's my real name. I mean, when I was younger, it was, "What's your real name?" Like, Jazz. What's Jazz? Fucking, well, yeah, that's what they'd usually say. Fucking Jazz. Um, and today you just get, because I live in Los Angeles, everybody probably thinks it's a made up name. Like, oh yeah, you're coming to be a movie star or a rock star. Yeah, Jazz. What's your real name? Like Sebastian, Jeremy. No, my real name is Jazz, and yes, these are real life jazz hands. So if you've never seen real life jazz hands, here they are. Woo! But yeah, so there you go. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I mean, I was, yeah, born in 1981. Me and my brother, actually, I always say we are bastards from the north. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, he talks about being a bastard from the north. Well, I was a bastard from the north. I was born out of wedlock. And it's one of the greatest stories ever. I told it in my best man speech at my twin brother's wedding that my dad, right? This is great. My dad was definitely not, he was the best man, but he wasn't the best man because he was the best man, but he wasn't exactly the best man because he was the best man at my mum's first wedding. And he ended up having an affair with his best mate's wife. And hello, here I am. And my brother were born out of wedlock from the affair. So he was the best man, but he wasn't really the best man. To be honest, he was probably the worst man going to sleep with his mate's wife in their first year of marriage. Just tremendous stuff. I mean, what do they say? If it's in the cat, it's in the kitten. So my mum and dad made me, no wonder it was sinner to winner. No wonder there was some stuff in the basement that I had to work out because I always think I'm like, is it nature or is it nurture? This channel, this YouTube channel of mine it's all about um being the best we can be, realizing that we're not perfect, and that's okay. I think it's a great mindset to be imperfectionists. A lot of people today, perfectionism is paralyzing, and it stops us moving. We don't start things, we don't do things because we think it won't be perfect, or we wait until we think it's going to be better or perfect. I think it's good to be imperfectionist and just get after it and make mistakes and learn from them. I recently said to somebody, I don't lose, I win or I learn. It's that simple. And generally, I was listening to something online the other day. It was George Clooney, and he was saying that he was saying that you really learn nothing from your wins. It's the mistakes. It's where you're bumping your head, metaphorically speaking, in life that you actually learn. And so yeah, that's what this channel's all about. I let's give you the bullet points why I am who I am and who I am and what I want to achieve. So yeah, being a twin growing up, I don't think it's very unique. I loved being a twin. It was like having a best mate sleepover every night of every night of my life. Uh, I really got on with my twin. We loved playing football. We loved playing together. We played together all the time since we were little kids. Everything we made everything fun. We were different, so we complemented each other really well. But there's that saying, compare and despair. And when you're a twin, that's who you compare yourself with. And that's probably not always healthy when maybe one of you's way better at sport, or one of you's way better with girls, or one of you's really stronger than the other one. And also you get treated the same. And as well, being Jay Martin, we were both Jay Martin. I'm telling you, man, there were some mistakes at the dentist. There were definitely some mistakes at the dentist. I've spent 5 figures on my teeth and I'm still going. I remember this one time they pulled 5 teeth out, and I swear to God. And the other one, the glasses, what do they call it? An optician, yeah. That my brother wore glasses when he was a kid. I swear they got their own J Martin, because now he don't wear no glasses. His eyesight's fine. I'm the one who wears contact lenses. So but on a yeah, that's serious. But on another, like, no, is people want to treat you the same. They don't want to leave anyone out. You wear the same clothes. You wear the same colors. You're just itching to be different at some points. You want your individuality. I remember everybody in our school supported Leeds United, and we were like, we're not going to support the same team. We like literally have the same underwear drawer. We have the same sock drawer. It's like we just share everything. We don't want to share the same football team. So it was like, okay, who are the sworn enemies? Who, if it's not going to be Leeds United, you have to pick one team. I have to pick the other. Who was it? And we came up. I think it was like about 1989, 1990, because that was when my first memories of football were. Because I remember England in the 1990 World Cup. And I chose Manchester United, and Jody chose Liverpool. We wanted to be enemies. And at that point, Leeds United went and won the league. And but we stuck to our guns. I was Man United, he was Liverpool. And then after that, I think Liverpool had won it the year before that. Man United, my team, hadn't won it for 25 years or something. And then what happened? Good luck charm came along. We just won everything. And of course, I'm a shithouse. I'm a Glory supporter. But the truth was, I started supporting Man United, and my family know this. My brother knows this. Anyone who knows me knows this. When they'd not won out, so that was interesting. I got a lot of abuse for that. So yeah, the abuse started at the name, then the football team that I picked. But something that was always in me. Let me have a little drink of my cup of tea. I'm drinking some Earl Grey and my little Brazilian. Ci amo. Love you. That's why I'm making these videos. I love you. I know if you're watching this, maybe you're struggling with some stuff. So, and I have, trust me, I've struggled, and we still do from time to time. But what does not kill you makes you stronger. If you can walk through the fire, be that fucking phoenix, rise, baby. Everybody loves a comeback story. That's why everybody loves Rocky. That's why everybody loves the Rocky movies. Look at that guy, flawed, can't talk right, don't look right, gets treated badly. Rocky 1, what a movie, what a love story. But we're rooting for him, aren't we? We don't even want him to win. We just don't want him to go down. Never quit. Never give up. So my thing was, and I don't know if this was for me, this was in me. The way my body was, the way I was set up, is I loved to gamble. Ever since I was a kid, from when I could, it was just in me. It was in me. I recently spoke to someone and they believe in reincarnation, somebody I'm working with these days. And I think we're always reborn. I mean, I can speak as a parent. When I look at my daughter I see things she does. She does this thing with her toes and she rubs to get to sleep. And that's me. I do that thing with my toes. And I wonder how many other little things are in her that are from her like relatives and you know, lineage. Like how many other little things? I think we're always being reborn. There's always like the way someone smiles, the way they react. You can see it. I can see it in my daughter. I can see her mum in her. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. We never die. You know, my DNA is going through her and on and on and on and on. And how many DNAs are going through me? So it's quite interesting. But the thing that was in me, it's like someone can either play football or they can't. Someone finds it easy to do maths or they don't. That stuff you can't take it for granted. Like, I'm 6'1". You know, that was just something that was in my lineage. I can't take like I really did well and I ate loads of food and I made sure that I, you know, stretched myself out. No, it's just something that was in me and that was part of my lineage. And I feel like the gambling that was in me, the way I work chemically when there's something on the line, my gosh, my brain releases that those whatever it is, dopamine and serotonin and epinephrine and all those kind of lovely cocktail, and it flows through me and I feel alive. And I remember that from a young age, I was asking. From 9, 10 years old, I was asking when I could be in the bookies. I remember saying, when can I put money on things? Where I grew up, generally in that area, the north of England, and especially where I went to university, Sunderland. But where I grew up it was just like the bookmakers, the pub, and the undertakers. And that was like business was booming for bookmakers, undertakers, and pubs. So you know, I was in the bookies at a young age, 15, 16. I was getting in the bookies. I was gambling. I was smoking. I loved girls. You know, it was like the Wild West for me. I was like a little cowboy, which incidentally, here's something that's weird. I had this like really weird fascination with Billy the Kid. I watched Young Guns when I was it was at primary school, so I'll have been 9 or 10. And I watched Young Guns, which was probably inappropriate because I think it was probably a 16 or an 18 rating movie. But I was watching Young Guns on VHS, this Western, and I would watch it all the time. And I loved Billy the Kid as a character. I remember my mum took me to Pontefract Library, which was the nearest town to where we lived, to go to the library to get a book on William H. Bonney. And he was called Billy the Kid. And I was just fascinated with this character. And I remember laying in bed at night and looking out. This is weird, right? I was being a little kid and I would look in the corner of a dark room and I would be wishing for the ghost of Billy the Kid to come visit me. Um, yeah, that was strange. I don't know what that was all about. I just really admired him and I liked him. And just that kid I guess I related to somebody who was different, somebody who had to stick up for himself, someone who got picked on a little bit. There was obviously somebody who liked adrenaline, somebody who was naturally talented at things, certain areas. I don't know, somebody who had a spotlight effect. I guess that kind of person who had that, you know, um, thing, some kind of energy about him. I liked that. So yeah, I liked adrenaline. I liked people who were about adrenaline. And I was in the bookies, I was gambling. I couldn't wait to bet. I couldn't wait to gamble. I would always ask about it. And incidentally, my mum, when she was younger, won the pools. The pools in England is like this thing where you mark off little spots, and she won quite a bit of money when she was a teenager doing the pools. So I wonder if something was in her. I believe it was in her dad, but something then, you know, like you just don't know, do you? And it got passed on to me. Um, but I just wanted to gamble and I loved it. If you played me at pool, if we were playing soccer, I say soccer, I've been in America too long, playing football, if we were doing anything, I wanted to put money on it. And I couldn't wait because for me, I was going to make all my money. I was going to become rich. I was going to pick results in football. I was going to pick results in snooker, pick results on tennis. And yeah, it didn't work out that way because, you know, as a gambler, you're always wanting more. There's never enough. Whenever you win, you feel like you should have put more on it. Whenever you lose, you know, if only woulda, shoulda, coulda. I don't gamble these days. Thank God. I use, let's just backtrack a little bit. How did I come to not gamble? Luckily enough, I'd hit rock bottom at 16 years old. I've been kicked out of home. They've had enough of me. I'm gambling. I'm stealing money off my mum. I'm stealing money off my dad. I've stolen money off my twin brother. I've got kicked out of home. I've gone to live with my auntie down the road, and the only way I'm getting back in is if I pay some money back to my brother and apologise and go to this GA 12-step meeting, get my life together, get a job. And I wanted to go home. And I was a kid. Looking back, I'm like, wow, just really. I always loved computer games. Like I would play on Championship Manager for hours, managing games, control. And what's funny is in the literature of 12-step, it says in AA, which is the Bible of 12-step, it's all the same thing, right? Just replace alcohol with gambling, or gambling with overeating, or overeating with overspending. It's all the same thing. And it says in there, gambling, alcohol, whatever, the addiction is not the issue. It's a symptom. It says in that a lot of people want to dine out on like that was the problem. That wasn't the problem. It was a symptom. The problem, it says in our literature, was a lack of power. So I was this little powerless kid who wanted power. I wanted control. I wanted to, and that's probably why I like managing games, because I could control things. And that's why I like to put money on things, because I felt I was in control and I felt I had power, and it was very euphoric and you wanted that power. And yeah, it wasn't working out too well for me, the old power thirsting, the hungry power guy, boy. And I went to this meeting, part of the deal to get back in the house and, normality to commence, whatever normality is, right? Was go to a meeting. So they took me to the hospital, Leeds General Infirmary. There was this 12-step meeting for Gamblers Anonymous. And I remember going in it and wow, I just knew these people were cut from the same cloth as me. It was pretty unbelievable. And I always remember there was a woman in there. There was a woman who had just come from the casino, and she told this story, and it's pretty crazy. But I remember thinking, "Oh, I totally get it. I totally understand that." She said she had this debt of about 5 grand, and she said a daughter had give her 5 grand to go pay the debt, which was impending with some kind of like loan shark or whatever. And instead of going to pay the debt, she'd gone to the casino again. They all knew she was a compulsive gambler, that she'd been borrowing money to gamble, and she'd lost the 5 grand. And she'd come to this meeting to say, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in debt 5 grand to my daughter, and now 5 grand to the loan shark. And I remember thinking, wow, that's what I'd have done. I'd have gone, right, I'm going to take the 5 grand, I'll double it, pay the loan shark back, and then I'll have 5 grand. Happy days. You know what I mean? Everybody's winning. You have your 5 grand back. I've got 5 grand. I'll buy you some stuff and take everyone out for dinner. I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy. That's how the compulsive gambler works. That fantasy land, absolute fantasy land, you know. A legend in their own mind, Uh, it's so sad when you're sick like that and you're trapped in the chaos, and you haven't realized how amazing life is. That life itself is the best fucking gambling game you could ever play. Like if you really want to play a game of luck and chance and skill, it's life. You don't need to go and put money on games. You can just back yourself and get out there. And it's what a world we live in. That's probably a different little topic, and I could talk about that all day long, and I do on my channel. So please watch the videos. Take notice of my videos, because what I'm trying to do is get people off all this addiction shite. Get people off this addiction shite and get into the real world. Invest in yourself. Learn. Look after yourself. Stop being a victim. Stop asking for other people to love you and care about you. And start loving yourself and caring about yourself. And naturally, that'll have a knock-on effect where people will treat you as you treat themselves. You've heard like people treat you how you let them treat you, right? You're being the example. Note to self. You're being the example. Standards. You don't get what you give. You don't get what you want. You get your standards. You don't get what you want. You get what your standards are. So I went in that meeting, and honestly, that was the best thing, one of the best things. Thank you so much to my parents for taking me to that meeting. They probably wonder sometimes, like, should we have took him to that meeting? Now he's become this like 12-stepper guy, and it's his life, and he's gone to thousands of meetings since, and it's really shaped who he is. And 100%. I'd probably be dead if they didn't take me to that meeting right now. I'd have probably killed myself. It would not have ended well. That was the greatest thing. It was my mom, actually. She was the one who, wow, I feel get a bit emotional here, but that's what parents should do. You know, tough love. You've got to have tough love for your kids. You can't get speaking as a parent, it's really tough because you love your children so much. But one of the greatest things you can do for your kids is say no and give them boundaries and give them consequences. And I'm so grateful my mum made those calls, cared enough about me, was like pulling her hair out, probably thinking, what the hell? What am I doing here? What have I got here? What on my hands? You know, it's my father reincarnated. And he's better looking than him. Oh, we're in danger. Um, yeah, if you ever meet me mum, she'll tell you a couple of things, and one of them's come here, have a look at me dad. He were a good-looking bastard too, and a bastard. Well, I literally were a bastard, mum, literally, and it was your fault. But anyway, that's a different subject. We're not pointing fingers. No one's perfect, but there you go. Facts are facts. Feelings are not facts. Hey, hey, hey. But I love you, mum, and thanks for doing that. Thanks for making that call and getting me dad to take me. My dad took me. I still remember it. These life events, these magic moments, these forks in the road, this where I took the road less traveled, and that made all the difference. That was it. I had my shell suit jacket on, my Adidas shell suit jacket, black, white stripes, bit of green tint on it, and we went in there, me and my dad, and he sat with me in the meeting. And we came out and we came into his car and he said, you're never going to do that again. You don't want to be like those losers, all right? Something along those lines. And I remember thinking in my head, oh, Dad, you should be making me go to that meeting every week, mate, because I liked it, but at the same time, I wanted to gamble again. I did. So nodded, agreed. And there was this like back and forth with my 12-step journey from 16 to 28, where I accomplished things. Thank God for that meeting and going to other meetings. And, you know, it's not linear, this thing. You know, I don't believe that abstinence is the key. I believe getting into action is the key. That's what this program's about. Again, try not to be perfect. I don't give a shit if you've got 5 years, 10 years, 20 years off a drink or gambling. It's what you're doing with your time. It's into action. There's a chapter called Into Action. I know people that have killed themselves with time because they're not getting into action. They're dining out on their time. I haven't done this thing for 20 years. And I've got a chair that is my chair in the meeting, but my life is shite. And I've got no friends and I don't make money and I have a relationship with my family, but I don't drink or whatever. You know, I'm being facetious, but there are people like this. It's not about stopping the thing. That's great. That's nothing. It's a symptom. What we hear from people that are doing this thing right is I didn't have a drinking problem. I didn't have a living problem. Sorry, I didn't have a gambling problem. I didn't have an overeating problem. I had a living problem. I didn't know how to deal with life. I didn't know how to do this thing called life. And I had to like go and have this, you know, thing that would numb my feelings, that would make me feel better, essentially, that would let me cope. How many people have we heard? I know one. I can't cope. I can't cope. Better. But there's a knock-on effect to that, isn't there? There's a knock-on effect to that. So when I was 28, yeah, let's fast forward. I'm 28. I come to America, come to visit friends over here, and I decided to stay over here, or I seen a girl at the time and I fell in love. And again, once again, blew all my money gambling, online gambling. Now it's online. You know, I grew up, we would have it on the remote control in England. It was there long before it was over on the internet or anything. You had Sky Bet. Oh, what a dream that was. Sky Bet on your TV. You could just bet on everything. You still can nowadays. We get people, it's all on your cell phones. It's unbelievable. It's rife. It's crazy. It's a killer, man. It is a killer of time. It kills people's relationship with time and just relationships with others, because you're just so insulated by this gambling thing, and your emotions are just like, it's like you're like, a little wooden doll, and the gambling's just, it really affects people, really, it really does. So I blew all my money. I was meant to be taking care of rent. I was meant to be taking care of someone, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't look after myself, and I ended up in a meeting in North Hollywood at a school there, Temple Beth Hillel. The meeting doesn't run anymore. It was a Tuesday night, and I walked in. I believe it was January 26th, and or January 22nd, sorry, and changed my life forever. I met some people in that room that became superheroes for me. It was timing. Timing's a big thing in life. Timing's a really big thing in life. And I think a sponsor of mine told me later in the in my evolution, um, he said, I don't know what it is, Jazz, but the universe digs action. And I was thinking about it today, that it was echoing in my being. And I was thinking, because I've been taking a lot of action recently, and a lot of amazing things, people, places, and things are coming into my life that's just fucking unbelievable. I'm really happy, and I feel in a great place these days. And it's because I'm taking action, and the universe digs action regardless of the situation. I've got this abundant mindset. Like, I'm just going to take action, and I'm going to be in the solution. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to be a victim and be in the problem and get me violin out and talk about it all and just go, look at this shit life, this shit sandwich. Let me throw it against the wall. Woe is me. No, it's all about the solution. So yeah, throw me in hell and I'll find a way to enjoy it. That's it. Um, that's what it's about these days. That's what it's about. Okay, I had a brain bleed last October. Okay, guess what? I'm coming back from that brain bleed better than anybody else has come back from a brain bleed in their life. That's my mentality. Grateful for it. Now I realize how precious life is. Thank you for that experience. Now I can connect with other people. You see what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. It ain't easy, but uh, what's good or bad? What's easy or hard? I'm told it's the thinking that makes it so, right? It's the thinking that makes it so. So brainwash yourself. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, they're trying to brainwash you. Why don't you brainwash yourself? Why don't it's these athletes, they employ coaches, they employ therapists and sports psychologists to brainwash them. That's a working class way of putting it, but to educate them, to give them a different belief system. It's all about beliefs, right? It's like in the Bible when Jesus was speaking with his disciples and getting upset with them and getting frustrated because they weren't believing. He said, if you believe, you can move a mountain into the ocean. You've got to believe. And I think in life, that's a big thing. So, yeah, I agree with my sponsor. The universe digs action. And, right action really takes care of that belief system. When you start being the change you wish to see, when you go, I want that thing, and then you start taking action to get there, you really believe it. You go, yeah, I'm going to get there because I'm doing this. I'm doing the action. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to look at my vision board. No, that's important. Or, oh, I'm going to look at my personal renaissance later. Yeah, that's important. Brainwash yourself. But guess what? Then the action starts. Oh, then you start believing it and you feel it. Vamos. And then, you're wired to receive it. All of a sudden, you're wired to receive it. And when an opportunity knocks, vamos. So, yeah. Hey, this is going quite well, actually. I'm surprised at how it's been a long day today. I've been back-to-back Zoom meetings, and I was up this morning after traveling in from Brazil. But thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Universal Light. Thank you, Father of Light. We're cooking with gas here, aren't we? So yeah, I met these superheroes, and I remember counting days off a bet, and I just remember being like, wow, I'm not gambling. It was just like, wow, the euphoria of not placing a bet. I was like, me? No one likes to bet more than me. I have to, every time I do anything, I have to place a bet, and I just became so high on having these relationships and friendships with people in the room, and they cared for me. They called me up. I remember this one guy called me up. And he's like, hey, I want to take you to a different meeting in a different area. And I remember getting off the phone and saying to the girl that I was with, I was like, "You think this guy's gay? Like, does he fancy me? Like, what? Why does he want to be nice to me? Why does he want to take me to a meeting?" I was like, really? I couldn't get it in my head. I was like, what does he want? Um, and it was this, this brilliant lesson that like helping people is one of the greatest things that you can do as a human being. I think it's what we're supposed to be doing. It's what I get emotional again because it's like it's the opposite of what's in it for me. And shout out Challenge Jackson, great video he's just done. I'm going to put it in the description actually of this podcast. Because when you start, it's like that song by Ultranate. I'm putting that in the description too. When you give more than you take, life can be so great, and that's when you're free. Something along the lines those lyrics, and it's the same as what Challenge Jackson says. When you stop asking what's in it for me and just start giving. I remember one of the greatest biographies. I'll put that in the description too. Yeehaw! Andre Agassi, Open. Fantastic biography, and he talks about all the things he achieved in his life. One of the greatest things was when he realized helping other people. I think he was in a restaurant and some guy couldn't afford to send his kid to school, and Andre was like, "Oh, I could help him with that," and he felt obliged. He knew this guy, and he knew he was a great guy, and he'd had a relationship with him, and he helped his son, and he just felt the euphoria of helping someone. And that's what was happening with me. And having people care for me. I was like, wow, there's nothing in it for them. They get nothing other than wanting me to do well, other than wanting me to get well and come back and collect these little keychains and make the coffee and greet at the door and secretary the meeting and go to intergroup and do what like they just wanted me to do well. And then all of a sudden I'm doing it. I'm seeing a newcomer come in the room and I'm checking the phone number and they're calling me on a night and I'm like, wow, I can help this person. I know they've been in pain. I know what that pain's like. I don't want anyone to feel that pain. And I've been there and now I'm not. And I've kind of got this, I know how to get out of it and I can help them. I can tell them, I can say, hey, I've been where you've been and now I'm achieving all these amazing things. That was the thing. That was the biggest thing was like, I always say to people, start putting all the time and effort you put into your addiction, whatever it is, start putting it into yourself and your development and your evolution. I remember I wanted to do acting and I'd never done acting a day. I've done acting at my school, but I'd never done a day's work in front of a camera. I'd never done anything on IMDb. I think I used to call it IDMB or whatever. I didn't even know what it was called back in the day. I wasn't on like any kind of casting sites. I didn't have any representation. And from stopping gambling and then focusing on things that I wanted to achieve and doing things like vision boards and writing things down and going and having a relationship with a higher power that I called God and praying and meditating and just seeking, doing nothing else other than seek. I wasn't like, I'm a Christian or I'm a Buddhist or I'm spiritual. I was like, yeah, I'm open and I believe in something and I'm seeking and I still am to this day. And I think that's the most important part. It says in our literature, you know what I mean? You just have to be willing, just have a willingness. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have a willingness and seek. And amazing things happened within, I think, 12 months to 18 months of not placing a bet and then just like putting effort into my life. I'd started booking acting gigs for money. And I remember the first call I got, and it was one of the best calls ever. I'd booked this gig, and I remember they said, and I thought, oh, that's great. I was just like, yeah, that's amazing. I'm going to be on a set, and I'm going to be in America and do this gig. And then they were like, and yeah, we're going to pay you $70. And I was just like, what? I was like, you're going to pay me? I remember just being like, okay, yeah, yeah. And I got off the phone. I remember going telling my partner at the time, I was like, they're gonna pay me. They're gonna pay me $70. And I was just so grateful. I was so happy. I swear to God, that was one of the best phone calls. I was on Riverton Avenue in North Hollywood. I remember getting that call and just being like, wow, somebody thinks I'm good enough to give me money for my acting. It was just an amazing moment. And it was like doing it for the craft, man. It was like the like I'd forgot, like at times now moving forward, I'd forgot about that, what it was all about. And you do it for the love of the gig and wanting to tell stories and change people's lives. And then, you know, shortly after that, I'm booking gigs for thousands of dollars. I'm booking commercials for thousands of dollars. I'm booking a Mark Wahlberg pilot for CBS. I'm getting paid thousands of dollars for that. I'm stood next to Mark Wahlberg. I'm reading for Mark Wahlberg. I am essentially in the same production as him. It was unbelievable. The Fighter had just been made. Boardwalk Empire had just been made. I'm working with Rob Riggle, Ken Marino, giants in the comedy world. And I was getting the same buzz, the adrenaline, performing. I'd used that thing that made me unique, and I was using it in a toxic way, and I channeled it into this way that I could use it. You see, a lot of athletes struggle with gambling addiction because they're used to the adrenaline and they can perform under adrenaline. It makes them feel alive, and gambling's like a cheat code into it. And if you can just, find a different vehicle other than putting money onto things, and which I'd done, which was amazing, and which I do now with this YouTube channel, and I do in other ways, like whether it's my boxing activities or, different environments, stand up, you can channel the adrenaline. You can go, oh, this is a healthy way to feel the same feelings, to get the same release, to get the same chemicals going on. I remember I was in a room with Chuck Lorre doing producer sessions with him. I was going against people like I was testing at Warner Brothers, signing contracts for 5 figures. I didn't get them, but 5 figures an episode, going against Chad Michael Murray. All these things that are not even on my CV that I did and went through, and coming back home and getting on Emmerdale. Gosh, come on. Emmerdale, grew up watching that, and then I'm on Emmerdale, all because I stopped gambling and started putting my effort into something else. I was stood in that pub, the Woolpack or the whatever it's called in Emmerdale. I remember thinking, I was stood at the bar before the scene ran. And I was like, man, I used to watch this as a kid on TV, and here I am in this bar now. And this is it. This is the penalty kick. I used to love football. I didn't make it as a footballer. Gambling and drinking and just being an idiot got in the way of that. I definitely had the ability. I just didn't have the application. I had the ability because I'd done things, just a little segue, like I'd been to School of Excellencies, Leeds United. I had Cess Pod, a trainer there. He told my dad I could have been a pro. I went to Manchester United School of Excellence, Bobby Charlton's school that he ran. Just like David Beckham, I won all the skills for my age group. I won the penalty competition for my age group. I went in the finals against the other age groups. Like I achieved these things that professionals did. I just didn't have the application. That's a big thing in life. Application and consistency beats skill every time. But it's all good. Like I said, I think if I'd have got that, I'd be dead right now because it'd been too much too soon for a guy like me. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Like I said, timing is a big thing in life. So yeah, I'm in there. I'm in the Woolpack. I'm in Emmerdale Farm, and I'm just like, can I do this? And because of who I am, yes, I could. Because come up the hour, come up the man, come up the pressure. Yes, I can. That's just who I am, and I'm grateful for that. We alchemize in Sinner to Winner. We alchemize. That's what I want you to do when you watch this channel, that realize all the bad stuff, all the darkness, you can alchemize it into light. It's biblical. It's on my Sinner to Winner Instagram page that, we turn the darkness into light. That's what we do. And that's how we connect. Our darkness is the Me Too's. That's how I'm going to connect with you, is say, I've been where you've been. I've done some things that I'm not proud of. I've done some things that I've got shame and guilt around. But what do? Do we stay in the victim? Do we stay in the problem? No. Vamos. Just like a carioca says it. Vamos. They're like the Scousers of Brazil. We get after it. We get in the solution and we get on the comeback. Everybody loves a comeback. We get into that Rocky mentality and we make the best of it. The cup is half full. It's not half empty. And we help other people with nothing in it for ourselves. That's what I'm doing here. I'm putting down, this is diarizing who I am. My daughter might watch this one day. I hope she does. I hope she can get something from it. Loved ones will watch this. People in pain will watch this. And they can hear some of my story. They know I'm telling the truth. You couldn't make this crap up, could you? You know what I mean? You couldn't sit here and talk about this. You couldn't, it couldn't all just come and make sense. There's no way I could speak for 40 minutes without, just one thing leading to another, because it's the truth, and the truth will set you free. Ultranate, baby, because you're free to do what you want to do. That's what happens when the addiction shackles get off. You realize you're like, oh, wow, It's like the best things in life are free, like just making a cup of coffee for someone and giving them it, or doing a kind act, or giving, it's like, wow, this is the best things in life are free. They really are. So, you know, these are the important moments. I think one of the greatest days in my life, I'll finish with this, just mention my daughter. One of the greatest days in my life was when I was when I realized I was going to become a dad. Uh, it's been a good chat today. I've enjoyed getting a bit emotional. It's nice. This has been a nice. I'm glad I'm on episode 6 of the Sinner to Winner podcast. Thanks for asking me to come on. Big hug, Jazz. Yeah, was when I became a dad. That's I always say to people, love at first sight does exist, because I had love at first sight when I saw my little girl on that computer screen, the ultrasound. So that little white thing, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm a dad. I'm gonna be a dad. And I loved it. I was in it from day one. Day one, as soon as we wanted to get pregnant, we planned it. We did all the tests. We made sure we were good to go. My daughter was planned, and we did. I did every hospital, every doctor's visit, everything. I was there for all of them. I think I might have missed one out of probably 40 odd, or God knows how many, but I was there for everything. I might have missed one, I'm not sure, but that was it. And I was there for the birth, man. I was like the birth doula. We had a birth doula, but I was the birth doula, let me tell you. Like I said, coming for the hour, coming for the man, adapt or die. I was there rubbing backs and holding legs and doing it all, and what a time. And yeah, I remember the day I saw a great story is the day I saw my daughter on the ultrasound screen. I came back from the doctor's office, and I had my in-laws there at the time, and I was like, I asked for a printout from the doctor of the ultrasound, so I had the picture of my daughter. And then I was like, I've got to get a frame. I want to buy a frame. And there was this giant frame shop where we lived on Melrose Avenue. Absolutely humongous. I'm like, that there will be a frame in there. And I left my partner at the time, left them in the house. I was like, I'm going to buy a frame. And I remember walking down, and I was like, I'm walking different. I'm a dad. I'm walking different. Talk about having that kind of night. The being a parent, if you're a good person, is the ultimate. It's not what's in it for me anymore. I've got to be about my child. It's about my child. I'm making decisions now for someone else. It's about the next. It's about the next clan, the next lineage. You know what I mean? So I'm walking different. I'm feeling it. By the way, I know I'm a bit all over the place, but we'll get there in the end, right? We'll get there in the end. It's just I'm just fired up. I'm fired up on Earl Grey tea, baby. So I'm walking there to the frame shop, and I just knew that I was going to find a frame. I found this frame, and I knew it. I just knew it. There's so many frames, there's so many colors, la 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 la. And I came across this frame, and it said "Love at First Sight," and it had a little place where you could put your picture in, and it was made out of wood. And I was like, "That's it. That's the frame." And I bought the frame, and it was so funny on the frame. Out of all the frames, there was a typo on it. I picked the one that there was a typo. It was beautiful. It was unique. Again, the message today: being perfect, like the frame I bought. It said "Love at a first sight," "Love at a first sight" instead of "Love at first sight." I went back and saw the rest. They were all perfect, but I got the imperfection one, and I kept it. "Love at a first sight," and because imperfection is important. We're all imperfectly perfect. That was a little God shot, and I put it in the frame. We took pictures that day, and yeah, I mean, wow, becoming a parent, unbelievable. And then obviously my daughter's been born, and now she's always in my thoughts. I make these videos, I think of her, I'm like, this is pretty cool, because I did having an illness that was intense last year. It makes you think about your own mortality, and I was like, well, at least if anything does happen to me, she's got these kind of videos to look at, to see a dad, and to maybe get a message or what I'm about. She can take something from my life journey, my mistakes, my solutions, and hopefully she can build on them and make them better and have just the most amazing life. And that's what I want. That's what I want for everybody that watches this channel, everybody that's subscribing, or everybody that's tuning in, or even if you're just watching it for the first time. Hopefully you can take something and just make your life better, and inadvertently make the lives of people around you better. Let's end with Michael Jackson. If you want to make a change, look at the person in the mirror. Start with that. Don't worry about all the people, places, and things. And the knock-on effect, the ripple effect of that, that's been my biggest journey. Is like when the plane's going down and the oxygen masks are coming down. I mentioned this the other day. It's like you got to put on your own first. That's where your power comes from. Into action, lead by example. So there's so much we could talk about, but that's kind of like where I think I'm going to leave it today. I've really enjoyed being on the podcast. It's great creating content. I'm really enjoying this journey. Who knows where the channel's going to go? Who knows where I'm going to go? There's been many different layers to my life, many different twists and turns. I'm a very capable person, so I find myself doing a lot of things, and it will be interesting to see where that takes me. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it. If you've got any comments or you got any questions or whatever, get them stuck in the comments. If you like the video, you know what to do. You know the drill. And that's it. I'll be back. And I think all that's left to say is va con Deus.